Greetings and salutations, everybody. I'm back with an interesting one here for you for your weekend for this little what to watch, let's say. A remake of sorts, but not for the film itself, but for my review. So I'm in the early days of my channel about 2 years ago, a little bit over 2 years ago. I was kind of figuring this whole thing out, how to make videos, what I wanted to talk about, and so forth when it comes to film. And now that it's been 2 years, this video that I did back then has received 17 whole views. It just never caught on. And, I figure partially it's because, my channel was new and I was still trying to figure things out, but, maybe it just really wasn't that good of a video anyways. So since I really enjoyed this film, I tried updating the name, the description, the thumbnail, resharing it on various, social media platforms, linking it to the end of some of my videos and within the descriptions, and I'm still at 17 views. So I figured, you know what? I like this film a lot. I want to talk about it again. So I figured, let me do a remake of my own, a re-review, a re-recommendation of sorts, for a film that I just watched for the third time in the past 2 years. And even though, and I even picked up a physical copy of it, even though it's still available on Shudder and now on AMC Plus, with Jakob's Wife from 2021, starring the amazing Barbara Crampton as Anne, as who I just saw when I was revisiting Reanimator for the first time in several years. Not to be confused with Reanimate Her. That's a buddy of mine, one of my little mutant fan friends. Just want to get a little bit of a shout out there. But also we get Larry Fessenden, who was also in Brooklyn 45, that I just did a video for a couple weeks ago, as well as The Dead Don't Die, which I did a video for about a year and a half back. Both of which, with those videos, they did pretty well, and I've been enjoying his work as I come across him. And we also have the nun herself, Bonnie Aarons, in this. But let's get to the synopsis. The synopsis for this film, Jakob's Wife, is as follows. Anne, married to a small-town minister, feels her life has been shrinking over the past 30 years. Encountering the master brings her a new sense of power and an appetite to live bolder. However, the change comes with a heavy body count. Well, yeah, of course. Anybody called the master is probably going to be a bit of a body count with that. So, that is a long one there, but that pretty much covers it. And but for some more detail as to why I'm kind of making this recommendation is one to check out this weekend. A lot of it hinges on the actor with the most on their shoulders, Larry Fessenden, as he plays Jakob. Okay, I'm just kidding. He's great, but the reason it's called Jakob's Wife is kind of, it's kind of like worked into the title. So let's just say that Anne comes second for everything. Even though this film is about her, she gets second billing to Jakob. It's all part of what that character is, So her husband Jakob, as it says, is a minister, and he's not abusive or anything in the way that we've seen some characters be, but he's definitely inattentive and not really on board, on the same page with his wife. So, this couple is generally just stuck in a rut. It's the same day-to-day stuff, same old, but Jakob seems pretty much fine with it. Not noticing that Anne is not fine with it, not noticing that she has, she doesn't like this rut that she's in. He's so stuck in his patterns that he talks over her a lot, cuts her off, not trying to be rude, but just is not considerate of her. He's really also just not paying much attention to her at all. Now, as far as Anne goes, played by Barbara Crampton, of course, she's quiet, she's very restrained and shy, and the way that Crampton plays this role is excellent because she plays so much of, especially the early stuff with Anne, in a very subtle way. We get these close-up shots of her restraint, which are so noticeable, and other shots of her really just kind of inspecting herself, looking in the mirror, kind of reflecting on her age. And then in the storyline, we get an old flame of hers from high school, played by Robert Ressler, who you may remember from Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge, as well as Weird Science. He's visiting, and she reconnects with him, and he kind of brings up how she used to be, when they were in high school and just out of high school, all the big plans she had for her life. So that kind of sets more of those thoughts in her head as far as, is this where she wants to be? Is this how she wants to be? Is she happy with how she's living her life as, the years go on? So then here we are 20 minutes into the film, just getting to know these characters, and a huge monkey wrench is thrown in, is dealing with a vampire attack. So set up in a similar way to Dracula, with like crates of dirt and rats, like something had kind of been delivered to a location that Anne happened to have access to, and there you go, she ends up getting bitten by a master vampire, very mysterious way, and like we've seen in a lot of other vampire films, we get some time kind of seeing what her transformation is like and how she's trying to adjust to figuring out what's happening to her and what her life is going to be like now. But with her transformation, it isn't just about what we've seen in a lot of films as far as just becoming a vampire and learning how to deal with that and maybe having some powers. But it's more of the general sense of the power and energy that she has that gives her this sense of self and pride and respect and this lust for life that she was missing before, that has her wanting to make changes for the better. Even if it's simple things as just deciding what her and her husband are going to do that night instead of just sitting by quietly, or deciding to skip out on making him his breakfast and get to her workout routine and do whatever she wants to do. Now, we still do get a lot of mystery about this master vampire, which is played by Bonnie Aarons, who has so much amazing makeup on, like you pretty much can't even tell that it's her. And so we get a lot of mystery about that, and how Anne and Jakob are going to kind of handle this situation of her becoming this vampire and knowing that there's this master vampire out there. And we get some other little side stories going on with, like, a character going missing and the police investigating and so on. But yeah, so along with that vampirism itself, we get, how it's really been affecting Anne. And I think that's really what comes across the best, because it really shines with Barbara Crampton's performance in this. She can say so much with speaking little to no dialogue at all. And then when she does deliver the dialogue, it comes out great, because once she turns, into this vampire and she has that extra zest for life, let's say, it comes out even more so in her performance, because she has such a difference between the quiet little church mouse Anne and the vampire Anne. They just feel so completely different. It's like seeing this evolution of a character and just seeing this woman kind of getting her life back, even though technically she's dead, I guess. Needless to say, I mentioned this was my third viewing and that I'd, picked up the physical copy as well. Because, wanted to do this little remake recommendation, because I figured this is a good what to watch one for the weekend. It's heading to the weekend, looking for something to check out, and this one's definitely worth it. And speaking of checking out, thanks for checking out this latest little quick video of mine for Jakob's wife. And at the time of this video, it's available on Shudder and on AMC Plus, like I said. And also thanks for sticking around to the end here, because that, along with liking, subscribing, and sharing, and all that kind of stuff, really do help out a lot. But let's get back to you for a moment here. So go ahead and sound off in the comments. Have you seen this film? What did you think of it? Do you think it was great? Think it was just okay? Or was it really not your cup of tea? Sound off in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.